Major win for MAGA. If you are America First, you're going to love what you're about to hear, guys. But I'm telling you, if this isn't the biggest bombshell news to date, I know I say this a lot, but guys, this is insane. President Trump said he would bring transparency to the United States, and that's exactly what he's doing. A Biden official explicitly approved the use of the Autopen for the last-minute pardons of Dr. Fauci, the January 6th committee members, and Shifty Schiff, the Biden family, guys. The only one, guys, this is so big. Biden only signed one pardon for his son. Everybody else, Fauci, January 6th committee members, Shifty Schiff, were all done by a different person. One of Biden's top officials, Mr. Zients. The Autopen, this is what Trump said. The Autopen, I think, is maybe one of the biggest scandals that we have had in 50 to 100 years. This is a tremendous scandal. I guarantee you. He knew nothing about what he was signing. And now a Biden official has admitted under oath explicitly that he's the one that signed the last minute pardons, not Biden. But you think, I'm telling you guys, you think it's crazy there? Listen to this. I can't even believe that I'm about to say this. Things are about to be exposed. The biggest shocking news ever for the deep state, Ghislaine Maxwell, the person who was the go-to, who did all the legwork for Jeffrey Epstein, says she is willing to reveal the Jeffrey Epstein client list, according to the Daily Mail. Also, guys, this, I'm telling you, it all makes sense now. Republicans are reportedly working to block Ghislaine Maxwell from testifying and revealing the Epstein client list. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. We got all the receipts to show you. The person who works and knows the list, Ghislaine Maxwell, says she is willing to reveal the client list, according to the Daily Mail, and now Republicans are reportedly trying to block it. There is a deep state cover-up, if there ever was one, right here, guys. But again, we're bringing you the bombshell breaking news today. This is massive. Not only that, Senator Rand Paul has officially issued a criminal referral of Dr. Anthony Fauci to Attorney General Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice after it was revealed that pardon was auto-penned for Dr. Anthony Fauci. Stephen Miller, Trump's deputy chief of staff, said some states, again, all this breaking news, guys, some states are fighting Trump so much and are considering seceding from the United States over the immigration laws, the mass deportations, the pullback of federal funding. He said without the immigrants, Democrats won't win local elections or federal elections, and they would rather separate than admit that they are wrong. Let me know your thoughts, guys. We've got criminal referrals. We got states that are saying some big stuff over the mass deportations. And again, just so much today, guys. Mike Johnson has just unveiled 2 more huge bills are coming with massive changes to the United States tax reform. Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid reform. This is big because the big beautiful bill changed a lot of things, which we're about to go over, guys. But now we're about to see even more changes, and it's only the beginning. Trump has come out and said, again, we need to win the midterms, so the 2 huge bills that are coming will ensure that Americans are put first, and we win the House and the Senate again. Guys, so much breaking news today, guys. I can hardly contain this. It's so crazy. I cannot believe it that a Biden official admitted explicitly that Biden did not sign Dr. Fauci's, the January 6th committee members, Shifty Schiff. All those were done by Zients, one of Biden's top officials. And now that we know that Ghislaine Maxwell says she will reveal the Jeffrey Epstein client list, but Republicans are reportedly working to block her from testifying, this is massive, guys. I want to say thank you to everybody who's watching today, to all of our subscribers and viewers. Thank you so much for your support. If you're not subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button, joining our family here at TrueLife News. We want you here. We want to serve you guys. So many breaking news. We got the receipts, the evidence for you. This is massive, guys. Today, we are going to reveal the deep state, and it is huge. I want to say thank you to everybody that is a member of the channel, those that give super chat donations. Elaine Demeen, OG of the channel. Y'all show Elaine some love in the chat. We couldn't do this without you. Remember, when you are a member or you are you give a super chat, we donate this money live on stream to local charities every single month. And want to say thank you to everybody who is watching. If you don't mind doing us a huge favor of hitting that thumbs up like button, guys, I'm telling you, today's news is bombshell over everything that's been exposed. But again, the big two huge bills that are coming, massive changes to United States tax reform, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. You're about to see this, guys, because this is real. Like, I can't even believe we're about to report on this, but these wins are massive. But now we got to move on and we got to keep the winning going. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Check this out.
There were many who said that it couldn't be done. One big bill that would fold in huge chunks of the Republican agenda. Any one of the major provisions of the bill would have been a major political and legislative lift, from tax cuts to the beginnings of Medicaid reform and boost to defense spending and money for border security. The 900-plus page bill also enshrines in law dozens of President Trump's executive orders inked to overturn the left-wing policies of the Biden administration. From a political standpoint and the pure legislative logistics of it all, the BBB was a historic achievement.
But it's not done.
However,
we're not done.
May come the harder part for Republicans. They have to sell it. They have to get credit for it and tackle both deficit reduction and entitlement reform in meaningful ways. The sales job on this mammoth legislation really starts now with a national campaign to tell people what's actually in the bill that benefits their families, their businesses, and particularly when it comes to their personal economy. The big bill was a big deal, but the GOP has to work overtime to tell people what the big deal is all about. They need to get up on television with ads and a big public education campaign, and they need to do it fast. Most Americans likely have no idea just how the tax provisions of the bill will impact their families. Most Americans likely don't know about the increases to the standard deduction, already doubled in 2017, or huge increases to SALT tax deductions, or the new deductions for tips and overtime and Social Security and how all that works. Most likely don't know that the Republican Congress just passed perhaps the most significant measure to address our national savings crisis and income inequality in history with these new $1,000 investment accounts for children.
Guys, and again, too, there's so much that they're revealing and what they're about to reveal, but I want to go ahead and show you this, guys, because this is the biggest bombshell news today, guys. I'm telling you, right here. Ghislaine Maxwell says she is willing to reveal Jeffrey Epstein's client list according to the Daily Mail. As soon as this came out, guys, then you got this that popped up. Republicans are reportedly working to block Ghislaine Maxwell from testifying and revealing Epstein's client list. Again, we've got huge wins. Trump's big, beautiful bill. The big new two huge bills that are about to come. But then we're dealing with all this stuff, guys. Why would the Republicans be working to block Ghislaine Maxwell from testifying? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys, because I'm telling you, it's getting deeper and deeper with what you're about to see. But again, Trump's focused on the economy, winning for the economy, winning for American taxpayers. But at the same time, too, if we don't get transparency, we cannot clean out the deep state, to clean out the swamp. If you appreciate this, guys, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, guys, this is getting crazy.
The new business deductions for capital expenditures, huge. Those are going to lead to business expansion and job creation. The president and Republicans need to start personalizing the impacts of this, akin to what was done by the Bush administration 2 decades ago. They need to tell Americans how this impacts the average family, farm, and small business owner.
Yes.
The GOP allowed Democrats to turn the 2017 cuts into, quote, cuts for the wealthy without the requisite level of pushback to convince Americans otherwise. It was a tactic that Democrats used to their advantage in 2020, and Republicans can't make that mistake again. Now, despite what Democrats and today's Democrat socialists may tell you, cutting taxes is good for the economy. So there's a good message here. The Trump White House is betting on a boom that will increase jobs, economic activity, and income by, according to the White House, as much as $4 trillion over the next number of years. But tax cuts aren't just good for people. Tax cuts are also good for government revenue. That, however, presents the GOP with another challenge. Using history as a guide, federal government revenues will increase in the coming years because of the changes to the code signed by Trump. The Kennedy tax cuts increased government revenue by 32% between 1961 and 1968. The Reagan cuts by 29%. The Bush tax cuts of the early 2000s increased revenues by up to 44%.
Let's go.
And the 2017 tax cuts also boosted federal tax receipts by 22% between 2018 and 2021. The new cuts are likely going to do the same thing, and that's a lot of money flowing into Washington. Biden and the Democrats spent the increases after the 2017 cuts. The challenge for Republicans now is going to be not spending it, but using it to close the budget deficit. Even for Republicans, for all politicians, that's like putting raw meat in front of a hungry dog.
Guys, I'm telling you, when you see all this cash, it makes you go a little crazy, guys. But again, when we bring you the whole news of what's going on, guys, we show you everything that's breaking news. This is so massive. We're going to get into all the details in just a moment. But the other big breaking news today, the New York Times reports that many of Biden's pardons, including Dr. Fauci, were signed by Autopen and approved late at night by a White House aide. This goes back to, guys, that people paid to get the pardon from the White House aide staff. People made bank whenever it came to pardons because they didn't want to deal with Trump. They wanted to make sure they were safe to get the preemptive pardon from Biden's Autopen. But right here, guys, look at the bottom highlighted in yellow. It says 3 minutes later, Mr. Zeitz hit reply all and wrote, "I approve the use of the Autopen for the execution of all of the following pardons." When it came to Dr. Fauci, the January 6th committee, Shifty Shift, all of these people were not approved by Biden. They were approved by a White House aide staff. Guys, this right here voids them all, guys. This is where justice is coming. Let me know your thoughts in the comments because this is going to change everything on the political landscape for the entire Democratic Party.
BBB's provisions to remove illegal aliens from the Medicaid rolls, along with its work requirements for able-bodied recipients, also universally opposed by Democrats, were a very good start toward long-term reforms. You know, experts believe that Medicaid is rife with some $300 billion or more annually of waste, fraud, and abuse in the system.
You just heard him. $300 billion of waste, fraud, and abuse in the Medicaid system. Guys, I'm telling you, when they said that there's increases coming, this is where they're coming from. You clean out $300 billion, well, guess what? That money's still there for the people on Medicaid. Well, what do? You take care of the people and give them an increase. Let me know your thoughts, guys, because this is the receipts.
Republicans need to advance more common sense reforms that are saleable and explainable to the public. And yes, unhinged Democrats are going to tell you millions of people are going to die, taxpayers should foot the bill for everybody, and waste and fraud aren't really a big deal. Most Americans aren't stupid enough to buy that line. No Republican can talk credibly about fiscal responsibility, closing the budget gap, reducing our debt, or controlling federal spending without tackling the bloat and inefficiencies in Medicaid. Now, whether they have the stomach to keep on going is anybody's guess, but it is the right thing to do. It's a time of triumph, but all glory is fleeting. And there can be no rest for Republicans who not only need to blunt Democrat criticism and educate voters on the benefits of the bill, but also keep up the reforms that are necessary to tackle the fiscal challenges that still threaten our prosperity. And that's the hard part.
This is the big stuff that's coming. I'm telling you, if we aren't seeing some of the biggest scandals of our day, Biden chief of staff reportedly gave approval for our Autopen pardons on final day in office. This is Jeff Zients, who wrote in the email that I just showed you guys. Jeff Zients, White House aide, who literally approved Anthony Fauci, Shifty Shift, January 6th committee members, guys. What does this tell us? That the president, who was Biden at the time, did not actually approve the pardons. It was a White House aide, and that does not fall within the purview of being able to be pardoned, guys. Big breaking news, guys. So big. Want to say thank you so much to everybody who's supporting the channel. Robert, thank you so much for the super chat. Said, I believe they're trying to block this for a big reason. There's more to the story that we don't know. Sweet Kitten, thank you so much for the super chat. Said, this is better than a Starbucks. This is better than at Starbucks. And thank you so much, Fred Samuel, who said, unfortunately, Republicans never been good at explaining how or what they are doing benefits the general public and get them to understand. And T Heavy Guy, thank you so much, bro. Said, God is moving. Praise God. Guys, show T Heavy Guy some love in the chat. Big news today. Ghislaine Maxwell says she is willing to reveal the Jeffrey Epstein client list. And now we hear that Republicans are reportedly working to block Ghislaine Maxwell from testifying, revealing Epstein's client list. Guys, I got to bring you people that are on the ground, closest to what's happening. Bring in what they're saying, guys, because this is going to change everything with what you're about to hear. We want to hear the truth. There's people on the inside, guys. Listen to this. Let me know your thoughts.
Well, as we're recording this, Dan Bongino is threatening to resign if Pam Bondi does not resign as AG. What does that tell us, in your opinion?
Well, it tells us that Dan Bongino got shafted, completely shafted. And I'm saying this as a friend of his and someone who respects and likes him, but also just as an observer, an informed observer of it. So Pam Bondi, who's, by the way, I don't hate Pam Bondi. She's a totally nice person. If she was here, you would enjoy, I don't know if you know her, but she's a very nice person. I'm not against Pam Bondi in the slightest. But the fact is, she got on television on Fox News and started saying stuff like, I've got the client list on my desk. And actually, no, you don't. And I've got thousands of videos of Epstein having sex with kids. Well, actually, no, you don't. Most of the material was commercial porn taken off his computer. Like, that's just not true. Why did she say that? Probably because she's insecure and she's trying to please the audience, I would expect.
Do you think Dan is upset because his integrity is being questioned now over her mistakes?
Oh, my gosh. So you're Dan, and you're a media figure, and you've got one of the biggest podcasts in the country, and you're making tons of money, and you're having a great time, which he was. You just built this brand new studio in Florida. You work with your wife, who you really like, which she does. And you get the call saying you'd be deputy FBI director. And you're like, I love Donald Trump. I love this country. I will, cut my pay by, into a tenth of what it was. And I will leave my house and move to D.C., which is a kind of prison sentence itself. And I will do this because I love the president. I love the country. And you're there a few months. And all of a sudden, everybody thinks you're covering up Epstein's crimes. And it kind of wrecks Dan's career. Like, he can't go back. It's going to be very hard at this point. I mean, things may change, but as of today, pretty hard for Dan to go back to his podcast audience and be like, I'm telling you the truth, when they all think that he's covering up for Epstein. Who did that? Pam Bondi did that. And I don't know.
Guys, and I'm telling you this, I bring you the receipts, guys, because things are getting even deeper. FBI opens grand conspiracy probe on the weaponization of DOJ. FBI opening the door to a special prosecutor. So again, we're trying to get the news. We're trying to make sure we get transparency. And now the FBI, who reports to Pam Bondi, is now changing the narrative, not changing the narrative, changing the news. Moving on. This is what Trump wants. Trump said we need to stop talking about that creep Epstein and move on and get the people. Well, guess what? Now this is big news, guys. Just came out this morning that the FBI is opening a grand conspiracy probe. They're going to look at January 6th. They're going to look at the 2020 elections. They're going to look at the Steele dossier, the Russia collusion hoax. Everything is about what? Going after the people that weaponized lawfare against Trump. Should they be focused on that, or should they go after the Epstein client list or do something with that? Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. This is big stuff, because it's not like they're not just doing anything. They're letting us know their next steps. And if you appreciate this, guys, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, we are living through some crazy history right now.
That she did it on purpose? I'm assuming not. I don't think she's a mean person. I've never gotten that sense. But for whatever reason, she went out there and said things that were not true, that she could not back up. And then they issued this memo thinking that it would clear everything up.
That was embarrassing.
And I guess they're just so dumb, they didn't realize that if you tell everybody you have the tapes of these crimes and then you issue a memo saying you're not going to prosecute anybody for the crimes, what are you saying? I'm covering up for the perpetrators of these crimes. Duh. They have no one with an IQ over 80 over there to read the memos? Are you kidding? I'm not exactly sure how that happened, but I do know that it leaves a guy like Dan in a horrible position.
Yeah.
And he loves Trump. And I don't think Trump had any knowledge of any of this at the detail level. And so he doesn't, I mean, what do you do if you're Dan Bongino? I feel for him. What is Trump going to do? I don't know. I do think that I think they know that they have to do something. I think it's absolutely fair to ask, to what extent was Epstein involved in a foreign intelligence operation on our soil? This is our country. This country doesn't belong to any foreign country. Okay, this is our country. I was born here. I pay taxes here. So if some foreign country, I don't care if you claim it's our ally or not, is running an intel operation on my soil, I have a right to know what that was. And don't make me feel like I'm some kind of Nazi for asking. I'm an American. I have an absolute right to know that. And they're clearly, that is what is being covered up because it makes everyone so uncomfortable.
Well, speaking of people leaving the Trump admin, what is wrong with Elon?
Well, Elon's awesome as far as I'm concerned. I wouldn't put a Neuralink chip in my brain, I'll tell you that. It's like the bottom of my to-do list.
So you don't think he lost it with all that?
No, I mean, well, I just like Elon, and Trump liked Elon too, for the record.
Yeah.
A lot. And what was that about? Probably about a lot of different things, but fundamentally, I think it was, I have a lot of dogs. Do you have a lot of dogs?
I have one dog.
You have one dog? Okay, so when you get to the pack level with dogs, there's the alpha dog. I have a female, the alpha bitch
Right
in
there,
my house,
guys.
and there can be only one. And if one of my kids brings a dog over, my children have dogs, they bring a grand dog over, and there's a battle.
And that's what happened, you think, with Trump and
You can't have two alpha bitches in the same kitchen.
Sorry,
I just
guys.
had that actually over the 4th of July. You know what I mean? I mean, you see this in families when you have a patriarchal figure who's...
So right there, again, a lot of people said it. We said it too. I want to go ahead and show you this too, guys. Senator Rand Paul is officially issuing a criminal referral of Dr. Anthony Fauci to Attorney General Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice, as it was revealed that the pardon that was for Anthony Fauci was auto-pinned. He does not have protection, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe that Anthony Fauci should be held in contempt and see prison time for his involvement with the COVID-19 gain of function, lying under oath, all that stuff, guys? Because it's coming. This is so real right now. And not only that, because of what we just showed you right here, that now there is an official, guys, an official grand conspiracy probe on the weaponization of the DOJ, the FBI. They went after Trump, and now Trump's DOJ is going after all of them and is spending the money, the time, the resources to make it happen. B1 Sly One, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. He said, heard a comment on another stream I think profound. The Dems had the information, the Epstein list, for years. It's not just what was removed, it's what they added for false accusations. I believe it. Can we trust the list? I don't know, but if we have video evidence of people, they need to be held accountable. Y'all show B1 Sly One some love in the chat, as well as T Heavy Guy for the super chat. Guys, I love it. Check this out.
To the machine? No. I totally disagree with that, but I really like him, and I think that he has given this country something irreplaceably important, which is free speech, which is our birthright, given to us by God, protected by the U.S. government. But we didn't have it because we had no outlet for speech. And X was the beginning of the resurgence of free speech. And I just pray that it remains open. But Elon did that single-handedly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Some foreigner who moved here, a naturalized citizen who gets America, understands that the Bill of Rights is the core of our country, and defended it when no one else would. And so I don't care what Elon does. I don't care if he robs a dozen banks in Michigan next week. I won't.
Weird backpedaling with Epstein and the Trump admin.
I think it's tragic. I mean, it's awful. It gives the impression that the Trump administration is covering up for an international blackmail ring. True or not, that's devastating. People who voted for Trump voted for him precisely, not just on Epstein as an issue, but more broadly because they're out of political options. I mean, they figured out that both the parties are aligned on the questions that matter, the war, foreign policy, and the economy. They have identical views. We tax labor at twice the rate of capital. Why do we do that exactly? And we're happy to send troops around the world at the behest of other nations. Why are we doing this again? And so that's the consensus in Washington across both parties, and Donald Trump was the option to that. And so if he is seen as covering up the crimes of the uniparty, of the deep state, of the people, of the deep architecture of power that clearly runs the world, then, that's kind of the end of his movement. Were they actually doing that? I don't think they were necessarily doing that. I mean, I'm confident the truth is that they don't have a lot of evidence about Epstein's sex crimes, actually. And the reason they don't is because the original search warrant in 2007, 6 or 7, I think, was crafted in such a way to protect Epstein. So the cover-up began with the first arrest.
What?
And as a result of that, the Department of Justice doesn't have some giant corpus of like videotapes of Epstein having sex with children. In fact, I've never heard it credibly alleged Epstein had sex with anybody. I think he got erotic massages. Maybe he did. I don't know, but I've never even heard that alleged. I think what happened was the Attorney General, for reasons that are not clear to me, went on television and said a bunch of things that were untrue and that she certainly couldn't support, and gave the impression that they had thousands of videotapes of Epstein and his associates having sex with minors. I can't imagine why she would say something like that. I can't imagine why she's still the Attorney General.
Guys, again, you hear this. She said that, and then now we have this breaking news that, number one, we've already been told we're not going to get any list, we're not going to get any videos, no evidence or anything, but now Ghislaine Maxwell, who was the front runner for Epstein's whole thing, says she is willing to reveal Jeffrey Epstein's client list according to the Daily Mail. And then, guys, again, I show you everything. Republicans are reportedly working to block Ghislaine Maxwell for testifying and revealing Epstein's client list. Guys, everything that we're showing you now, things are not looking good for Republicans. And now Trump is on a big push for everybody to go out, talk about the big wins when it comes to the big, beautiful bill and get people focused on that. As well as, and just don't worry about the Epstein list. That's literally what Trump said. Let me know where you stand at, guys. I want transparency. I want America to win. But again, too, there's people that are not giving it up. Listen to this, guys, because this is big.
You are a transparency missile, like a Tomahawk missile. What do you make of this Epstein situation?
I think that the rollout has contributed to a lot of the reason why Americans are so upset, because there's so much conflicting information. And although I've exhausted all of my legislative abilities to obtain any information pertaining to Epstein, I'm going to be reaching out on behalf of the American people, because this is not just a Republican-based issue. It's an independent issue. It's a Democrat issue. There's an issue of trust that's been created because of how this optically looks right now. And so I'm going to be asking for information. No one wants CSAM materials. No one wants victim information, but they do want to know who was involved. And I think that that's something that the administration needs to divulge.
Yeah, and so, I mean, there's a lot of questions surrounding this. When you hear from voters, would you say it's one of the top issues you've heard about in the last week?
When yes, most certainly last week, I go online, my office is being called about it. And actually, when I initially ran for Congress, one of the top issues in my community that I represent is government transparency and ending government corruption. So this is not just, a fundraising thing for me. This is a legitimate issue. And I think, when you say that there's a lot of children that have been harmed, I think as a parent, it's a very serious issue. You want to make sure that people that were doing those bad things are being held accountable.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. And I think that's what makes people so angry about this, that I'm hearing from you guys, is that there's one rule of code. There's basically one standard for the elites and then a standard for us.
Yep.
And one of the powers of our movement was that we wanted the people to be back in charge. And I'm sorry, the fact that none of the super elite people that raped kids are in jail, but that we had January 6 prisoners that were facing years in jail, there's something deeply unsettling about that. There's something very wrong about that, because from the best of my knowledge,
Guys, let me tell you this. They sent grandmas to jail for years for praying outside of abortion clinics. Yeah, we can't get to the bottom of this. This is what we're talking about, exposing the corruption, guys. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, all the January 6 people were pardoned. Thank God for Trump doing that. But still, I'm telling you, people are resisting, and there's a lot of them that are on the Republican side. We're going to show you in a moment.
Any of those billionaires that raped kids go to jail?
No, and I think, though, when you don't release information, even information that might not necessarily, like there's information, photos from the crime scene, all of it, All that should be out there, because when you don't talk about it, it creates a void for conspiracy theories. And the thing is that if you're trying to be transparent, you're trying to disprove that, then there needs to be total and complete transparency in regards to those topics. And what I will say is that the model on how the administration rolled out JFK, massive success. There's going to be document drops on Martin Luther King soon as well. They need to do the same thing for Jeffrey Epstein.
And transparency needs to be the goal. You have other announcements, too, of things you're working on. Tell us about it.
Well, I can tell you that just on Friday, kudos to the CIA Director Ratcliffe. He actually released previously hidden files, and I'm talking for decades, a file on a CIA operative known as Joe Nedes, who actually had known contact with Lee Harvey Oswald prior to the assassination on JFK. And per our findings, Charlie, a lot of people are saying, well, was there success in the investigations? Most certainly. What we know now for a fact is that the CIA engaged in a cover-up in the assassination of John F. Kennedy. We know that according to witness testimony, and also according from documents actually from the CIA in those document drops, that the CIA rejected the lone gunman theory, that there were multiple shooters, and that, in my opinion, a rogue faction of the CIA engaged in cover-up of the Kennedy assassination and had contact with those that pulled the triggers, and triggers meaning both multiple shooters.
And so when you start to look into this, I think this is one of the reasons why people are so fired up about it, is that Kennedy was one of the great violations against our own country's sovereignty by the intel agencies. Do you think Epstein had intel agency ties?
I think when you're looking, the Daily Mail just did a great article that came out that said he had passports with his identity and bags of diamonds. I don't know about you, Charlie, but I'm not rolling around with passports and bags of diamonds. And that does smell of intel operations. And I know that I've seen on the internet, there's been admissions that he had ties to the intel community. So look, if that's the truth, it needs to be out there. I don't believe in covering up for things, and it's not in my job description to cover up for those types of people.
Well, God bless you for that. Anna Paulina is doing amazing work fighting on Capitol Hill.
Guys, and I'm telling you, there's still, like I said, there's still some pit bulls that are fighting it out, but when you hear these reports that Republicans are reportedly working to block Ghislaine Maxwell from testifying and revealing the Epstein client list, all you got to think is Rhino, establishment, who are they trying to protect? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you appreciate this, guys, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button. Fred Samuel, thank you so much for the super chat. Said this is exactly what the left wanted, to try and split apart MAGA. That's why you see support and constant talking. Thank you so much, Anthony J. West, who said the Republicans asked President Trump to suppress the Epstein files for their cooperation. Guys, I'm telling you, that's what I believe happened. I believe the only way that they got that big, beautiful bill across was that Trump and the DOJ would not release the Epstein files. Again, Trump's focused on the economy, focused on the winning, but that's, to me, I feel like what happened, because you had 20 Republicans who said no to the big, beautiful bill. Within 1 hour, all of them said yes, including Thomas Massie. I'm telling you guys, a cover-up. But what you're about to see next, guys, is what we're talking about. There's different levels to the corruption, and what you're about to see is that there's some people that are protected, but now they're not about to be protected anymore because of all the news that we're finding out. Check this out.
The New York Times is reporting that former President Biden told them that he had orally granted all the pardons and commutations issued at the end of his term, meaning he did not personally sign the official warrants for clemency. Biden told the Times that he did, in fact, make every single one of the clemency decisions himself, but says that the Autopen was used to sign the warrants since there were a lot of them. Now, according to the Times, Biden called Trump and Republicans liars for saying he was incapacitated and his aides used the Autopen without his authorization. Alicia, I see you're shaking your head. Your response to this?
Well, I have so many responses to this, because we're supposed to believe this at this point. It's really hard to swallow that statement there, that he said that he made the decision on, quote, every single one, when we know from so much reporting that there was a limit to his time where people had access to him. So there were decisions that were made, quote unquote, after hours. We know that for a fact.
Right there.
So to say that it was every single one, I'm going to have to see the receipts on this one, because, and this is the question before Congress right now. They're trying to figure it out. That's why we have a line of aides and staffers coming up to testify. Who knows what we'll find out, but it's an interesting statement.
David can bear
Guys, we have 9 more people that are going to testify under oath over what's gone on. This is the thing. The New York Times reports that many of the Biden's pardons, including Dr. Anthony Fauci, was signed by Autopen and approved late at night by a White House aide. Here's the actual report. 3 minutes at the very bottom, guys. 3 minutes later, Mr. Zients hit reply all and wrote, I approve the use of the Autopen for the execution of all the following pardons. So this is not Biden. This is not the President of the United States. This was a White House aide. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys, because I'm telling you, it gets even deeper.
He's sitting in his chair. You guys aren't seeing this at home. He is literally dying to get in here, David.
You're both onto something American people need to pay attention. Time, math. How many commutations and pardons in one day, and how many hours would it take for him to do this individually? It strains incredulity. Remember Hillary Clinton said willing suspension of disbelief? Just do the math on what it would take for him to do that individually when he couldn't cognitively get through more than a few hours a day of work.
You know, why weigh in on...
Right here, guys, I just want to show you, look at the difference in the signatures. Those are not the same people, not the same signature whatsoever. This is what we're talking about. Different people executed the Autopen. Different White House aides were basically the president for whatever they wanted to do, because I just showed you. They approved the pardons. It wasn't Biden. He didn't say, all right, Biden has given us the go-ahead. Let's go ahead and do this. It's like, no, I approve these. And whenever it's a White House aide approving a pardon, that means that they're void because only the president can pardon it, guys. This is insane.
This now. I mean, isn't this just adding fuel to the fire?
Exactly what was going through my mind, Lisa, because these individuals, look, Ron Klain, others are expected to go up and be deposed on Capitol Hill. And, you know, he is not doing them any favors. I mean, look, we watched the former president fight with the short stairs on airplanes, stages at, across the country, fighting with teleprompters. It was all very evident in front of us. And now he's choosing to fight with the Autopen because he doesn't like it.
But notice something he said there.
Yeah.
His exact words matter. It's very lawyer-like and Clinton-like. I orally did this. This is why, watch very carefully, because I've seen this play from the Clintons, from others. They come out and they make a very clear lawyer but somewhat ambiguous statement that you really can't challenge and prove. Orally is a key word.
By the way, as the journalist in me, so it's worth noting that the interview, we're told, from the New York Times was only about 10 minutes. Didn't want to expose himself too long because, surely the New York Times is wanting to know too, like, okay, if we sit with him for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, will this become confusing for him? Will he exhibit some of that mental acuity decline? But apparently this interview with the New York Times is only about 10 minutes, we're told.
It's a tightly controlled dodge.
Well, also,
where's this heading, Alicia?
I think it's heading to I don't recall. This is a setup for his aides once they get in there before the committees and they start answering questions when they say, oh, so what about this act of clemency here? Do you recall him orally telling you? It's very easy for them to say, to be able to, relieve themselves of any sort of commitment to the truth by saying, I don't recall.
Remember.
And again, guys, remember, we show you the receipts. This is from Representative James Comer, who is the chairman over the House Oversight Committee. He says new reporting confirms Biden White House took executive action without the president's approval. Right there, guys, from the chairman of the House Oversight Committee. We bring you the receipts. We show you the breaking news, guys. This came out today. 100% shows that things need to be rescinded. There are actions, executive actions, pardons that need to be pulled back because it wasn't the president actually doing them. Rick R., welcome to the family. Let's go. Y'all show Rick R. some love in the chat, as well as Coach Keith, who said, I believe Republicans will hold their legislators accountable if they appear on the client list, where else the Democrats won't. What do you think? I think that anybody that's on the client list is doomed regardless of the party because both sides will destroy them. B1 Sly One, thank you so much for the super chat. Said, how long would it take Bugs Bunny Biden to orally state 8,000 names? Take too long. Y'all show B1 Sly One some love in the chat. Where Trump has responded already on this matter, guys. Himself, hear what he has to say, guys, because again, the investigations are getting so deep and we're so close. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, listen to this.
President, on a separate topic here, President Biden, of all people, spoke to the New York Times over the weekend. He did not speak to them on the record during his time in office at all, but he spoke to them recently. And he defended his use of the Autopen and said that he signed off on every decision. But at the same time, the Times reports that he did not individually approve each name for the categorical pardons that applied to large numbers of people. What are your take on that? Any new revelations from that?
Well, I mean, you're talking about the Autopen. Look, the Autopen, I think, is maybe one of the biggest scandals that we've had in 50 to 100 years. This is a tremendous scandal. And I know the people on the other side of the, see that desk, that Resolute desk? Unfortunately, he used it before me. But, you know, we have our choice of 7 desks. They're all beautiful, but I chose the Resolute, and so did he, unfortunately. But the people on the other side of the Resolute desk, I know them. Lisa, the whole group, and they're no good. They're sick people. And I guarantee he knew nothing about what he was signing. I guarantee it. So they're going to figure it out, and we'll see what happens. But to me, the Autopen, you know, you elected president. You know what the Autopen is supposed to do? Sign thousands of letters from young people that write. We get thousands of letters a week, Susie, right? Thousands. I mean, tens of thousands sometimes. I look at a room, there's a room where we have many, many people working, responding and sending letters back. That's what an Autopen's supposed to be. To write to a young 7-year-old boy that writes to the president and he wants to be president someday and he loves America. That's what the Autopen's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be for signing major legislation and all other things. No, the Autopen, and I doubt he knew. I doubt they even spoke to him about it. I think they had, it's called a freewheeling Autopen. Like, Biden was never for open borders. Biden was never for transgender for everyone. So I don't think I think the radical left people that took over the White House, and if I didn't win, our country was finished. You know, when I was in, and I said this a couple of times, I hope I don't bore you with it, but when I was in Saudi Arabia, I was in Qatar, I was in UAE, and then I met with all of your leaders, including you, a great leader. He's now the leader of many countries, not just
No.
But I met with a lot of leaders over the last 2 months in the Middle East and all of the NATO countries. And I will tell you, they had one common phrase. They thought America was dead 1 year ago. And today they say, and they all say it, and I hope you'll back me up in this, but they say now it's the hottest country anywhere in the world. It is. Look at our numbers. Look at the numbers.
Guys, I mean, look at the receipt right here. Biden admits he did not individually approve most pardons and commutations. Guys, everybody's reporting on this. Is from the National Pulse. Everybody's reporting on this. So what does it mean? We knew, and even whenever, this stuff comes out, all the emails, guys, look at this. At the very bottom, 3 minutes later, Mr. Zients hit reply all and wrote, I approve the use for the Autopen for the execution of all the following pardons. We are just seeing so much, and that's why this is super important, that the FBI has opened a grand conspiracy probe on the weaponization of the DOJ, the FBI opening a door to a special prosecutor. Again, our country has been taken over the past 4 years before Trump got into office, was run by unelected bureaucrats, people that weren't elected by the people, and now we're finally opening the probe to investigate them. And guys, I know it's taking forever, but whenever we see these wins, like what we're seeing right now, it just shows us things are getting done. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
We made $25 billion last month. We didn't make that for years. The tariffs are kicking in. The economy is very strong. Even though we have a Fed person who's terrible, he doesn't know what the hell he's doing, but that's all right. We blow through interest rates. We're doing so well, we blow through it. It'd be nice because people would be able to buy housing a lot easier. But think of it. We thought your country was dead, and they were dealing with China because they were really going to China. But not anymore. But we thought your country was dead, and now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. So we've done a really good job, and it's an honor to have this man. This man is a star, and he's going to be dealing with another one of my stars, Matt, and you're going to do a great job, Matt Whitaker, okay? Thank you very much, everybody.
And guys, look, I know we've talked about this a lot, but I want to show you why I think, again, Elon Musk dropped out of the entire, government position and whatnot. xAI, which is Elon Musk's AI company, announced a Grok for Government contract. This contract is worth $200 million. So now, again, we go back to the money. Now, Elon Musk is making a ton of money off of this. It's helping him to grow Grok, which is his AI on X. But this was just announced this morning that now there's a Pentagon $200 million contract between Elon Musk's company xAI and the Pentagon. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Sandy Knight, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. I love it. I want to show you guys this right here because if this doesn't get passed, what you're about to see on the screen, I think that there is going to be a revolt. I think that people are going to ditch MAGA for this maybe American party that Elon Musk has posed, because this is how big this is, guys, that we voted for people to go do something, and right now they may miss this, and it just shows us corruption. Listen to this.
Kansas Senator Roger Marshall.
So, Senator, good morning to you. Now, we know some Republicans, including Appropriations Chair Senator Susan Collins, been working behind the scenes to adjust some of the White House's package, specifically cuts to public broadcasting. Is that going to water it down, or do we think this thing is actually going to get through on Friday?
Well, Mark, I think we'll get it across the finish line. And I think it's important to remember why this is so important. Our nation is $37 trillion in debt. We're spending $1 trillion a year in interest. We're asking the Republicans to do what we said we were going to do. We said we were going to cut spending. Now, the one big beautiful bill, record amounts of spending cuts. But here's a small chance to take a $9 billion bite out of the apple. This is only $9 billion. Look, folks back in Kansas are tired of the federal government spending $1 billion on public broadcasting. In today's world, I don't see that the benefits outweigh the detriment here. I think there's better things to do with that money. I think that we should proceed forward. A second point why this is important is it only takes 50 Republicans to do this. Usually in the Senate, it takes 60 votes. We got the big, beautiful bill done with 50 plus votes, and we'll do the same thing with this. I think we'll get it across the finish line.
Yeah, what are the implications, though, if we don't get it across the finish line? Congress has not agreed to cut spending, that it previously approved since Bill Clinton was in the White House. So there's a long history that it may not happen.
Golly, guys. Republicans haven't voted to cut spending since Bill Clinton was in the White House. That's been a long time. I'm telling you guys, people are going to get fed up if things don't change and the people that we put into Congress don't do the things that they said they were going to do, because channels like this one, TrueLife News, and other conservative outlets, we're going to call them out. We're going to hold them accountable if they do not do what they say they're going to do. Guys, I'm telling you, we are going to win one way or another. And like I said, I believe that Trump came in and he changed the Republican base, the people, from Republicans to MAGA. But what hasn't changed is Congress. And right now in Congress, we have Republicans. And if they need to be called something else to be America first, that's what we need to do. And that's what we need to make sure is that they are serving we the people. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Well, I think that means that the swamp is still really deep up here and that Republicans aren't willing to step forward and do the right thing. Look, DOJ has found like $2 trillion of waste, fraud, and abuse over the last 20-some years, $190 billion of cuts that they would like to make through wasted contracts and NGO grants, those types of things. This is a small bite of the apple, very small. USAID, this is the #1 thing on my list I gave to Elon and the team, that I saw just the horrible, fraudulent abuse out there, that the USAID had become a slush fund for Democrats, where they hired their buddies and their relatives and did all their DEI malarkey, I'll say. So this is a chance for Republicans to stand up and do what we said we were going to do. Surely 50 of us can do the right thing. Let's make America first. Let's take that $9 billion and pay down our debt.
Yeah, guys, if you support that, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, guys, thank you so much for your support. This is what we need. Stop talking about it and just actually do it. We're talking about $9 billion, guys. Our entire budget for the United States is at like $7 trillion. So I don't want to hear it. This is like 0.001% of the actual budget that we're spending to actually reduce, and they're making this big a deal about it. They're fighting this hard to reduce just $9 billion in wasteful spending.
Senator, I mean, the president's not messing around with this one. I mean, he posted on Truth Social saying any Republican that votes to allow this monstrosity to continue broadcasting, referring to NPR, will not have my support or endorsement. I mean, Senator, I cannot imagine any Republican going to their voters with a message that I'm pro-government spending.
Well, that may help Susan Collins, but the rest of us do not want to be on President Trump's naughty list, right? So Mr. Putin's on the president's naughty list right now. It's not a good list to be on, trust me. I've seen people get their knees cut off by being on the president's naughty list. But regardless, the president is America first. The Senate Republicans should be America first. We should get this rescissions package across the finish line while we have the chance.
Before we go, I want to ask you about former President Joe Biden and his use of the Autopen. He was now interviewed by the New York Times, and Biden really defended himself and his frequent use of the signature tool at the end of his term. He says he, quote, made every decision and authorized it. Of course, this comes after his White House doctor, Kevin O'Connor, pleaded the fifth during that hearing last week with the Oversight Committee. Senator, you're a physician. What do you make of all of this?
Well, look, Joe Biden doesn't know what day it is. I'd love to see him do a live interview. Let's invite him on to Newsmax today. Come on in, Joe Biden. Let's have a live interview and let's discuss this. Where are the notes that would prove that he participated in those conversations? Look, when I have conversations like that with my staff, there's copious notes supporting what they presented to me, and that I was involved in the conversation. So show proof. So don't tell me, show me. So let's see the reports there. Look, this president, Joe Biden, was in a cognitive decline, neurodegenerative decline for years, and like I said, I'm not sure he knows what day it is, let alone understanding. Was it 1,500 you said that he had pardoned? 1,500 some people?
Guys, I'm telling you, all this stuff, it's all cover up, guys. The big news today, Ghislaine Maxwell says she is willing to reveal Jeffrey Epstein's client list, according to the Daily Mail. Republicans are reportedly working to block Ghislaine Maxwell from testifying, revealing Epstein's client list. But I do want to bring you some more good news, guys. Per President Trump because remember, he said we're going to give weapons to Ukraine. Everybody was like, what the heck? It was a different story. So, President Trump will sell close to $10 billion in arms to NATO to give to Ukraine per Axios. The U.S. is not spending a single penny on them. This is how you do it. I'm happy about it. Let me know your thoughts, because I was kind of irritated when I heard that we're going to start sending more weapons and stuff. I don't care. I don't care about selling them, but I do care about just sending them for free, how Biden did it. But I wanted to bring into this mix, guys, I told you there's two huge, massive bills coming that Johnson is working on already. More tax reform, changes to Social Security, changes to Medicare, changes to Medicaid. Listen to this, guys, because this is huge, huge wins for the American people for the midterms.
Always a pleasure to be with you.
Let me start with Russia because I know there's a lot of support in the Senate for this. 80 senators or plus have supported potential sanctions on Russia and its energy. Would you take that up? Would you take that to the floor?
I would. I think there's a big appetite for that in the House as well. I think tough sanctions are called for. I mean, Vladimir Putin has shown an unwillingness to work with President Trump to bring an end to this this unjust war on Ukraine. And we got to talk tough and we got to act tough. That's what he responds to. He's a bully, and if you don't treat him as such, then he'll continue to run his rampage through Ukraine. And we got to bring an end to that. We need peace in this conflict. It's long overdue.
And of course, part of the money being allocated toward defense, an increase there is in the big, beautiful bill. Congratulations to you for getting that over the finish line in the time that you promised, July 4th. The president signed it into law. Tell me how that money will be allocated with regard to defense. What do you want to see happen?
Well, look, the big, beautiful bill was a landmark achievement. America First is no longer just an agenda. It's now the law of the land. And to your point, the big investment there was in border security and national defense. The bill did a lot of things, but this is really important. So this money will go to help us ensure the policy of peace through strength. We have to invest appropriately and smartly in our military industrial base right now. It's a dangerous world where our adversaries are China, Russia, Iran, North Korea. They've united together in so many ways. And we're showing everybody around the world, like that little clip you just showed from Prime Minister Netanyahu, that America's back. And that strength is what is going to maintain the peace. So these investments are important. It's in naval vessels and ships, in our new kind of warfare. And by the way, there's an investment here in the Golden Dome, which will help us have real security in our homeland. So lots of things here, very strategic. We're spending the money efficiently and effectively. That's what the American people demand and deserve.
And of course, you and your colleagues were also able to stop what would have been the biggest tax increase that anyone has seen with the extension of the tax cuts. I want to get your take on what's next. Where does the legislative agenda go now?
Right
and
here,
are you
guys.
expecting to do a second reconciliation package later on in the year?
Yeah, we're implementing a playbook that we designed well over a year ago. About 15 months ago, we began this process, understanding and believing that we would win unified government, that we'd have the White House, the Senate, and the House in the Republican hands, and that we would not want to waste this historic opportunity with President Trump coming back to the White House and us having the responsibility of fixing every metric of public policy that Biden and Harris and the Democrats destroyed over the previous 4 years. So the big, beautiful bill was the first big step in that, but we have multiple steps ahead of us. We have long planned for at least 2, possibly 3 reconciliation bills, one in the fall and one next spring, that would continue to allow us to do this on a partisan basis where we only need Republican votes and we don't have to drag Democrats along. They are no appetite to fix any of the mess. We have to do it ourselves. So, yes.
So again, guys, you just heard him. 2 big major bills that could change everything. The things that I'm going to go ahead and read off my list that I have over here, guys, because again, this is big, big stuff. George Masalis, welcome to the family, brother. Y'all show George some love in the chat. Big things that Trump wants to include: the External Revenue Service. Anybody making under $150,000 a year does not pay federal taxes. A Social Security senior boost. This is $1,000 one time for anybody that is over the age of 65, guys. They want to do Medicare reforms. They want to do more tax reforms. So this is where on the tax reform, they actually want to put in anybody that makes over $1 million pays an additional 2% in taxes. So those are some of the big ones, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I feel like some of this stuff is going to get through. Remember, in the fall, another big reconciliation bill, but we want to continue the economic growth. The External Revenue Service, eliminating federal taxes, will 100% bring a huge economic boom to the United States. Let me know your thoughts if you appreciate this, guys. If you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, guys, thank you so much for all your support.
That's next. In addition to that, we will continue to get the country back on on a path to fiscal responsibility by rescissions packages that will come from the White House and will enact and claw back spending and eliminate fraud, waste, and abuse in the multiple reconciliation packages and in appropriating at lower levels of funding. All these things will be done while we're codifying more of President Trump's executive orders. He's been very busy. We will be as well. We have a lot more work ahead of us.
Well, it's a great point that you make, because some people were critical of the fact that we haven't seen a lot of codifying in the Congress of President Trump's executive orders. Where specifically would you want to see that?
Yeah. Well, we did over almost 30 of them were included in the big, beautiful bill. So that was a lawmaking exercise. The president's now signed them into law and they're codified. So it's not a temporary thing. They'll be permanent in the law. And we've done a number, about 15 or 20 additional executive orders that we've already codified in the House. We'll continue that process. We wanted to get as many of them as we could into the reconciliation package because we knew that we were certain that that would actually be signed into law and it wouldn't just be a feel-good exercise. So more of that will continue going forward. The president's been one of the most prolific, I think arguably the most successful president in the first 6 months of this term than any previous president. Look how many things have been accomplished. A lot of it's been done through executive order, so Congress has its role to play now as well.
Well, that's a big message, an important message for you going into the re-election races next year. In terms of debt and the spending cuts that so many people want to see, that was really the pushback or the debate among you and your colleagues. Do you feel you have the support in terms of spending cuts? Should you actually get to do that second reconciliation package you're referring to?
Guys, let me tell you this. If what you're seeing on the screen does not transpire, this is Senator Rand Paul has officially issued a criminal referral of Dr. Anthony Fauci to Attorney General Pam Bondi in the Department of Justice, and it was revealed that the pardon for Anthony Fauci was Autopen. If we do not see people arrested, if people aren't put in jail over the corruption, if we don't see the DOJ codified, we will lose the midterms, guys. Plain and simple. Fred Samuel, thank you so much for the super chat, brother. Let's go. He said, stop the war, remove Zelensky and Putin from the equations. 100%. Guys, but again, this right here, if we don't get some sort of closure for the Epstein list that's better than we're not going to show you anything, we are going to lose the midterms. And right now, again, guys, I'm telling you, this stuff is just going crazy everywhere. Look, Congress is reportedly attempting to prevent Ghislaine Maxwell from disclosing Jeffrey Epstein's client list, according to the Daily Mail. Again, being reported by the leading report. Big, huge outlets are now showing you guys. I'm showing you the breaking news. This has just happened. We beat the mainstream media, guys, on all the breaking news. But this is messed up. The Republicans who are supposed to be fulfilling Trump's transparency, guys, supposed to be bringing us the truth, is now essentially trying to block Ghislaine Maxwell from disclosing the list. Now, let me tell you this. If there's a lot of Republicans on there and the Democrats win the midterms, they're going to bring Homegirl up and she's going to testify and a lot of people are going to go to jail. But this does not look good for the GOP, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. We're just showing you the report. We're showing you the news. You let us know what you think, because I'm telling you, this is not good stuff. And again, there's people that are saying that Maxwell is going to, what happened to Epstein is going to happen to Maxwell in the comments. Stuff happens, guys, especially when you're talking about this level of money, this level of elitist in that world.
Aren't you?
I do. Look, the Republican Party is the party of fiscal responsibility, and we're going to continue to demonstrate that. In the big, beautiful bill, people call it a spending bill. It wasn't. The only increases in spending were for those two priorities, border and national defense. Everything else was carving back and saving money from the budget, which is why you call it a reconciliation bill. So we would have actually achieved, and we will, in excess of $1.6 trillion in savings. That is an historic number. No Congress, no legislative body in the history of the planet Earth has ever saved so much in a bill. Now, it's just the first step, though, Maria, as we...
Remember, guys, it's over 10 years, so it's not that much. It's only like $140 billion a year. Remember, our budget and what we spend is like $7 trillion. Don't let them fool you. I bring you the receipts. I tell you what they're actually talking about.
Out. We have a $37 trillion federal debt. You and I talk about this all the time. We all do. And we have to have a combination of reduced spending and greater economic growth. We put jet fuel into the economy with the One Big Beautiful Bill. It will be that. And extraordinary growth. We're projecting 3% going forward and $4 trillion in new revenue just out of the legislation. But more is ahead. And the tariff policy and the other policies of the Trump administration have been wildly successful. In fact, we had a budget surplus, as you know, in the month of June, the first time since 2017 when President Trump was last in the White House. So more of that is ahead. Every American will feel it. And the Big Beautiful Bill was geared and written for a lower and middle class earners in the country. They're going to be feeling really good as we go into that midterm election in 26.
I'm really glad you mentioned this.
Guys, thank you so much, Fred Samuel, for the super chat. He said the Democrats had the list for 4 years. They don't want it out. The Democrats had the list. Say there's another party, like we talked about, that's going to come out and try to replace the Democratic Party and doesn't have ties to the old oligarchs in the Democratic Party like Obama's and Biden's and Clinton's. They could come out, reveal the list, expose the corruption, and they would win America. My goodness, I'm telling you, that is a very real possibility, people. We don't mess around when it comes to telling you the truth, and this is crazy.
Plus, I was going to raise that because there was so much hysteria over President Trump's tariffs, and yet look what it is getting you, $100 billion in tariff revenue on an annualized basis, actually creating a surplus for the month of June. The last time we saw a surplus was the president's first term in 2017. But sir, I want to switch gears and ask you a bit about
guys,
the FBI.
This is big stuff right here. Just look at this. Deficit, 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 surplus. If that just shows you Trump knows what he's doing when it comes to the economy, we can win big. We just got to keep serving we the people. If you appreciate this, guys, let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button. Guys, if you're not subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button, joining our family here at TrueLife News. We want you here. We want to say thank you to everybody that is watching, to all of our viewers, all of our members. Remember, when you're a member, or whenever you give a super chat donation, we donate this money live on stream to a local charity on the 22nd of every single month. And we have donated in the past 9 months almost $40,000, guys. And we're going to break it this month in just about a week, guys. I'm so excited for it because we are changing lives with your support. I want to give some special love to those that have given today, guys. Such amazing people. I want to give some love to Joel Hambleton. Welcome to the family. Robert Cash, Sweet Kitten, Fred Samuel, T Heavy Guy. Y'all show T Heavy Guy some love in the chat. B1 Sly One, Anthony J. West, Coach Keith, Rick R., Sandy Knight, George Masalis, Fred Samuel. Guys, show them some love in the chat. Thank you so much for liking, for sharing our videos. Remember, we're here to serve you, and we want to make sure we bust our butt to give you the best show every single day to make sure you are informed with all the breaking news. We love you, appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.